All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. What is Gucci Manucci's? Welcome to the Half Court Podcast. You already know I'm Darwin. We got AV behind the camera, and today we got a very special guest. We got Wendy Espinoza.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much for stopping by. First of all, also for reaching out to us. So kind of let the people know what you got going on and what do you do?
Well, I am born in Monterrey, Mexico. Moved here when I was 12, short summary. Then graduated valedictorian, went to college, UCL, graduated as the first Hispanic, Mexican, but Hispanic women engineer there as a manufacturing engineer. Within all this time, I've done modeling, photography, podcasts, radio stations, a little bit of everything to support my drive and my want to become an engineer.
That's
so
amazing.
Would you say you're like kind of like an activist in a sense?
I guess so. I mean, I've been part of the DACA movement. There was a couple of years that I was part of that. I've helped a lot of people fill out their DACA documentation. So I kind of do a little bit of everything, pretty much. I'm open to everything as long as it's helping others and supporting others. So that's what I do. Yes.
So you have a degree in, what was it again?
Manufacturing engineer.
So what is that based off? Like, what do you have to do as far as your task?
Well, as far as an education background, lots of math, lots of science, lots of statics, dynamics, fluids. Besides that, once in the manufacturing area, of course, there's different areas that you want. As a manufacturer, it's broad. So as a manufacturing engineer, you can go to do civil engineering, you can go to do chemical engineering, but I focus on the manufacturing side. So now I work for a company that does construction machinery, big heavy construction machinery with the forklifts and all of those cranes and all of that type of stuff. So I work in a manufacturing area where there's a bunch of different lines for these products, different type of products. And I am a design engineer, which is the one that, not the one, but I grew, my whole group, it's about 4 of them right now. And we actually designed the machine and we change the machines as what the customer is needing, what the customer is wanting. And
nice.
Not that just beside that, but to also maintain our product safe and a good cost basis for them.
So you have to basically keep up with the trends that are going on in that section of the thing. That's a lot.
Yeah, and we have to keep up to what's new out there, to keep us competitive as well.
Yeah. New problems, because like my dad does cabinets, and sometimes it's like that. Like things change, and now you need a different type of hinge, or so
right.
Like,
and then you have to understand why we're doing a different type of hinge. Oh, because this hinge did not hold the required amount of weight that the customer was needing it for.
And see,
so
you
now
wouldn't know that unless you're like connected with somebody in that industry or something. That's what's
correct.
wild.
So I'm the part of that group. I've gone through, of course, this was not my first position. I started from the bottom once I graduated as a manufacturing engineer technician, which is pretty much the one that helps the engineer. So I started as that. And then from there, after a few months, they saw that I had, the qualities and the skills to go ahead and move up. Of course, with having to apply again as a new position, I know that another resume, they saw my qualities, went ahead and become an engineer for that. So I was in the line with the people building the machine. So I knew every single part where it went. Okay, I knew where it went. I knew the options. I knew the wheels. I knew the tires. I knew the pressure of the tires. I knew how the hoses were routed from point A to point B, electrical, how to get it tested, why is it not working, what is it not turning on, going to look into schematic, blueprints, all of that.
So very into the job, like knowing every single detail.
Yes, and that was what's awesome about that position, because you familiarize yourself so much with the product that you know it as if it's like your own little child. Yeah, and then when something new comes out, it's like, why is it doing this? And you can't figure it out. Like, I need to figure it out because it's never done it before. And there's customers telling me it's happening out there. And if I don't fix it and I find out the issue, then my customers are, of course, not going to be happy with the product, and they're going to start moving towards our competitors, which is what we don't want, of course. So that was part of my job as a manufacturing engineer. Did that for another couple of years, and then I also went up in a position as a design engineer, which now it's more of an interaction between what I was before and what I am now. Now I am more into, I'm the one making the changes. I'm the one providing the product to you, and then you tell me, you put it all together and tell me if it fits or doesn't function. And then if there's something that doesn't work because of safety, you let me know what it is and we change it. You let me know what it is that it's someone in the line, it's not able to put a bolt through. Why are you not putting this bolt is not going through? It's a hitting something. Now I have to make the change to provide for them. Not just for a team member that builds the unit, but also for the customer that's also requiring us to do something for them to make it easier, faster, more movable, more safe. So all of this.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot.
And then you're having to deal with like you're probably
everything.
having to deal with like software and stuff. So then you got to deal with that software engineer.
Yes, I do.
That's wild.
From position to position, of course, every position needs a different skill and needs a different knowledge. So I'll have to understand not just the product, but I start learning what softwares, as you say, that we are using. Because
That you
there's
can
3D
use to make
models,
your
there's
job.
there's 2D models, 3D models, and this documentation process. There's talking to this group of people. There's talking to this other group of people. There's translations. There's a lot of.
You're basically a director because you got to make sure that everybody's on the same task and
Everything's
making sure
running
that
smooth.
it's going forward.
Yeah.
Like you're like a project
Right,
manager too. It's
you
crazy.
are like what's good about my position is that I am my own boss. I have my boss. Of course, with his boss. But once I am in that position, I need to make sure that what my bosses, my customers, whoever else is needing me to do, I'm the one that has to do it. I'm the one that goes questions. I'm the one that goes solves the problem. Of course, if I have questions, I'll question, around me if I don't have the knowledge or understand something. But I'm the one that drives that because I have a due date. I have a product that has to be delivered at a certain time. With certain requirements. So
Gotcha. I have a
manage
question
my
for
own
you on
things.
that. Do you think that that is a gift that you have, or do you think that everybody's able to develop that?
I think everyone's able to develop that. I am
Develop
not-
what?
Yes.
Like being able to get a project from A to Z and then dealing with all the shit in between that. Like you gotta deal
Like
with
the
what she
stress.
said. You gotta deal with a bunch of groups, and it doesn't matter what that due date. You gotta have it done. Like you remind me a lot of my sister because that's how she would be. She'd be like, "I'm not gonna stop until I finish it," and I would see her just be like, "What?"
Go through the process and go to the way and go to the pain because everyone is capable. Everyone's capable of doing it. Everyone's capable of educating yourself to it. The matter and the point of it is, do you really want to do it? Because it is going to be hard. It's going to be tedious. It's going to take time out of other stuff you may be doing. But coming up with these positions, yeah, you have to do it, but everyone can do it. And everyone can do it in a daily basis. It's like start cleaning up your room. If you say, you know what, all this week I haven't cleaned up my room, I'm going to clean my room for the next following month every day. And you start with tasks like that on your own personal life. And then it just creates and builds that skill and it creates that drive and it creates like, no, I can do it. I've done this before. I can do something harder.
Sort of like
and
working
I can
out.
do something harder.
Yeah.
If you work out and you go through that pain, it's like most things throughout the day are not going to be as difficult as that workout.
And then all you
Yes.
have to do is replace the word hard with you don't know. Like you're not familiar with it yet, because you can say like algebra's hard. It's hard because you don't know. But once you start doing it and start doing exercises that your brain can get more familiar with it, all of a sudden it's not hard.
I think what the education system sometimes may lack is like you don't quite know how you're gonna apply it as a kid. So it's like, okay, why am I gonna need this? So now as an adult, I see it now. Like when I'm building a cabinet, I'm like, oh, that's why.
That's why I needed to do this other such a way.
Yeah, like that equation makes sense now because I need to have this number for this.
Like the measurements and like the symmetry on it.
So now I know I
Yes.
need it. So I'm like, okay, I need to study this.
Yeah, and going back to what you said was great is the fact that you don't know. And the fact that you don't know creates this sense of fear.
Right.
So really, you're stopping yourself because you're fearing something. So you stop yourself because of that, but then you find excuses. No, I just don't
too
feel like
hard.
doing that. No, I just like, why do I need to do it? No, it's not necessary.
Right.
You start building excuses for yourself to where you stop challenging
You
yourself.
brainwash yourself.
Yeah, you put that into yourself. So, and then it's just you, it's what creates you and what creates everything around you. So if you stop yourself from the beginning to get-go, from a little task that's cleaning my room and a constant devices, then you're going to just imagine what's going to happen is you go to college and you're going to, I can do this. It's too hard.
Okay, so how did that click for you? Did you learn that from your mom, from your dad? Like that simple concept of, just clean your room.
Well, everyone's different. Everyone has different personalities. But I can tell you, from when I moved here to Oklahoma, I was 12, right? From Monterey. And I did not know a dime of English. And back in Mexico, I was a straight A student. Okay, 90, 100, 100, 100, all the time. And then I came to the U.S. not knowing anything. And that definitely, obviously, my grades get down. That to me was a disappointment to myself. Okay? So a disappointment to myself where I was like, I'm crying because I don't understand it. I'm crying because I know I can do better. And
so from since you were little, you were always into
I was in a position where it forced me to. Either you're going to stay in that group with, the people that don't know English and you stay in that group and that mentality of
ESL.
It's hard. Yeah. And are you going to stay with that group of people because it's your comfort zone? Or are you going to challenge yourself to move on and do something better for yourself, okay?
I completely understand where you're coming from.
Because I was in that group.
You get tired of being like, hey, translate for me, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you put yourself in that position. You are placing yourself in a position for whatever reason. Everyone has different life stories, different place of coming to here or why you ended up being where you are. But for me, that was my point. That was like my turning point.
Yeah.
And I understood if I stay here in my comfort zone, I'm not ever going to do what I was able to do.
Basically, te tenías que poner las pilas so you could keep, you had no choice.
So you have no choice. Either I would come down to I can't do it because I don't know English. Or no, I was able to do it before, even better. Then my brain is functional. The only thing is the language. So I actually removed myself from that group, and I actually not wanting to do it remove myself, but because I needed to. I actually said, I don't want no second English as a second language classes. Put me in normal classes. But you don't know English, I don't care. Just put me there and I will be fine.
You jumped in.
I jumped in.
Yeah.
I jumped in like that.
I'll figure out how to swim, mother.
Yes.
So since you were little, you were you always had the I guess the brains to be I want to be great with school. Because you say you always had good grades and stuff.
Yes, and that was back earlier. I guess my thought of I want to be great with school, I want to be great at what I can do, which at that moment of my time, which being a kid, the only thing you can be great at and to show everyone it's school, right? Or a sport. And I wasn't great at sports. And school was my thing, though. I could understand it.
And you
felt
liked
great
it. You liked
doing
it.
Yeah, I felt great doing it. And I felt great knowing that other boy always wanted to beat me on my test. And I always beat him every single time. It was something I had, And but from there, it's not just that. I mean, you get the recognition as such. But also, you make those around you, in my case, my mother, better because she was single in Mexico with 3 kids. I'm the third one out of, I have
the youngest one?
Two older, the youngest one. I have 2 older brothers. And she had it hard, dude. She had a hard life just trying to provide on a daily basis arroz y frijoles.
Yeah.
That was me, that was them, that was our place where we were. And I knew that the only thing I could do to make my mom happy was to be good in school, was to be a good child and be good at school and show her that she's doing something. To me, that was my gift to her, okay? But that's the way I felt. So I guess from that moment, I recognized I like this. I like being on top. I like being, I like having other people challenging me and trying to bring me down in a way. But I guess I had always that want. And it was hard whenever I moved. I remember crying at nights because I didn't understand what a book said. I didn't understand how to do this or how to do that. But I also recognized at that age of 12 that there was a huge opportunity and there was a way to just take advantage in a good way of this educational system. And the only way that I knew it was because math classes, I was on it, okay? Numbers are numbers, whichever you go, wherever you go. And I was on it. I'm like, my brain's good. I'm good. It's just the language I need to grab. But just knowing the math and taking it, what we are doing here in the educational system in the U.S. to what I was doing in Mexico, that to me was baby stuff. What I was learning in 7th grade here. What I was learning in Mexico in 6th grade, I did not end learning until I was in 8th or 9th grade here in the U.S. So educational system here in the U.S., and it gets me put back to another, area that I would like to touch on is educational system. The educational system in the U.S. does not challenge kids.
They don't challenge kids?
It does not challenge kids as necessary to create this I want. I can do better from being young, from a young age.
Do you think it's the teacher's responsibility?
I don't think it's just the teacher's responsibility. It's the parent's responsibility as well. It's not. It's just you can't pinpoint
I think
one person because
I think the parents is a huge. My bad for because you brought that child into this earth. So if that education system is failing your child, then it's our responsibility to create a homeschool or a new school. You can't place the blame on the system because you can't expect the oppressors to help us.
I agree. And kind of have to rebel in some way of really what you think is better for yourself, and not only for yourself but your kids. If you're a mother, since I am a mother, I have kids, and now as a mother I understand how I go back into thinking how easy it was with me, but why was it so easy? That's the question. Like, why did I do so well? Well, one was like, I had the drive and I wanted to do it, and second, the doors are open here. They're open to be more than average. And these schools are made to be just a passing grade to be average. Because if you go to a public school, whichever public school, and we know Oklahoma doesn't have the greatest educational system here. Yeah. But if you go to any public school and compare it to any private school, what a 6-year-old is learning is not the same of what a private school is learning. Okay? Yeah. And it can be in any state. It can be in any country. It's even like,
I don't know if you know the school pathways.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I went, and it's wild because I had friends that went to like just Capitol Hill or Grant, and I would just see the difference in assignments. I'd be like, this one was public, but you had to get accepted and stuff. But like, there was people graduating that couldn't put their senior paper together. Like, bro, you can't put a fucking essay together. But that's like, we were doing that shit like clockwork at Pathways,
right?
Because our teachers were. I mean, it was just the opportunity that came up that I was blessed with. But I would see the education system like out there, like Capitol Hill, would be like, what, bro? You don't know
a difference, huh?
See, and I graduated from U.S. Grant High School. Okay, so I know what you're talking about. And I know that if I let myself be as, the average of what the educational system, I'm not going to say everyone else because it's not
everybody.
Everyone else's fault. Kids just don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they don't know. Okay, and I was able to realize it because I came from a different culture, a different country. So I was able to compare it at that early age. When you're born here and your educational has been the same all throughout, then you just don't know. So it's not your fault if you don't know. It is your fault if you don't realize that you can get better, though. Okay? So, and that's the way I
But see, that's what sucks, that sometimes kids have to wait until they're a fucking senior in high school to realize, like, damn, this is now it, bubs. Like,
and then it's too late.
Yeah. Then at that point,
it's way too late.
Depressed, start smoking marijuana.
Right. It's too late at that point to where then, even though they are able to become better at that age. At any age, you can become better. At any age, you can work your brain just like a workout. At any grade, you can always get that knowledge. But usually in that in that period of time of growth between 14, 15 to like 20s, you don't really know what you want. And already having something on top of that of, I really am not good at something, or I really don't know this because I never paid attention or whatever, having that on top of you is more self-doubt. Okay? And by that
kids
time,
are ruthless
it's too late. So by that time, in their own little brain, they give up so easily. They give up. So it's like, don't just give up. Challenge yourself. There's more out there. Don't stay in that group of just feeling comfortable with where you are. We love our culture. Yes, we do.
So let me say this here before I forget, because I'll hold the question, then I'll end up forgetting. I think my thing, when it's time for me to become a parent, I think one of the challenges for me is going to be like my kid see me as more of like somebody he can talk to. Do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
So how are they with, like, how's your relationship with them? Do you like,
how do you engrave in their brain that they can be badasses?
Oh, I do it all the time. All the time. I have a 7-year-old, so especially with him, my youngest one, it's only 1 and 2 months. So really, he's just on a start. But my 7-year-old, I do it all the time, and I can tell you, and this is why I go back to our culture and where we come from. I do it all the time with my 7-year-old, to the point that I know I'm gonna teach you the way I know your 7-year-old brain can understand it, is capable of getting this information. I homeschool him even though he goes to regular school. Okay, I teach him. We all in our house. I started him with piano classes. So I home teach him piano classes without me knowing piano. I will find lessons in YouTube because
is that something he likes?
Yes.
And then his brain is fucking new, so he's
always doing that. I tell him how good he is at dancing. He may not have the greatest skills, but I put that in his brain that you are great at something, right? All the time.
Okay, so that's good for motivation. So how do you toughen him up? Because he, like, let's say in the point where he thinks, like, he becomes too soft to the point where if somebody tells him he sucks, he might get like very. I mean, he's still young, but down the road, eventually he's gonna get to the point where somebody's gonna tell him like, you suck, or you're not good at this, which can kind of bring him down and make him more, like, I guess, soft mentally. So
that's probably where my dad came in my life.
we have those conversations because there's points that someone may say something, and I even have a conversation of someone's just gonna say something because of the way you look.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
As simple as that. It doesn't have to be because of school. It has to be as simple as how you look, how you talk, what you're wearing,
like
what your shoes are.
I'm sorry, like it's stepbrother. She's like, I just want to punch you in the face. I don't know why. I like you, but I just want to punch you.
We tell them. I mean, like. And it's not them all the time. It's not you all the time. It's just people are not smart at making decisions, and they're not thinking of what they're saying and how it's going to hurt the other person. You have to be emotional strong because that's something really we don't talk about. No, with males or females, and a lot of Hispanics too. And I'm working through it too, okay? There's this of being emotionally smart. You have to be emotionally intelligent. You have to know, I can't just go off doing this or acting this way because of the way I feel. Like, you have to
never let your emotions make the decisions. Like if
and
you
it's hard
feeling
because and then you're asking
angry,
me about a 7-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, okay, come back and let's sit down and talk about what happened. He's had his little heart broken by friends that don't want to play with him anymore. Things like that that kids go to. But then I go down, like, what were you doing? When this started? Because it has to start from somewhere. And we tell them it's not, you can't blame the other person all the time. You have to take responsibility of also what you've done. And it's hard for a 7-year-old, but we are hard in that area too.
So it's a balance.
Yeah, it's not just a 7-year-old. Yeah. I think people take a lifetime to be able to figure that shit out.
Yes, a lot. And the sad thing is that we don't take the time. And I don't say, like, there's a lot of parents out there that don't take the time to create this great individual because they think that they're going to school. They're going to be fine. They're going to be taught what they need to do. They're going to be taught social skills. But really know that the most focus that you have to have with a child, with education, with the drive, with what they want to do, with their goals, with how good they feel about themselves, starts at the first place of being, which is your household.
Yeah.
Your household. And yes,
that's where a lot of things.
I think for example, Mexican, like, I can only talk about, how I was. It's hard to for your parents to know what's going on in school because they don't even speak English, or they don't, like you said, they think that sending you to school is already a blessing. It's already, they're going to teach them what they got to teach them. But then you come back home and it's like, they taught me all this stuff, but why, or this and that. And then sometimes the parents are like, No, pues no sé.
Yeah, no say
yeah.
or sadly enough, there's no conversation.
Yeah.
There's no real true.
Like even if they want to
Caring-
help you, sometimes they can't.
They
Sometimes
can't because
you know.
they also come from the same background. And I said, I love our culture. We're Mexicans, yay! We're party makers. We're loud. We have great culture, great religions, all of that. But we have to understand that we ourselves create our own lineage. So what we do is what's gonna carry. So you also have to sit down. What don't I like about what I've seen from my family, friends, from my,
So
other
you can
areas.
so you can kind of break the stigma instead of keeping
Yeah,
the.
what don't I like about myself either? What don't I like that I've done? What don't I like that my parents maybe did to me and they never apologized to me? If I ever want to bring it up, they'll always say like, "Ay, no digas nada," blah blah blah. You know,
Tú por todo te
never-
enojas. Tú
right?
por todo te
Yeah, like no, you need that closure with those people that are important to you because that's the only way that you're gonna realize how you can self-grow because that's what's gonna that's exactly what you're gonna pass on to
Yeah,
your
so
next
for
ones.
our generation, that's I think that's very important. Ya, pues los señores, ya, yo creo it's hard to teach an old, what is that, old dog, new tricks.
Sí,
yeah.
como dicen.
But I mean, and they will. I mean, like I have a lot of disagreements with my dad because like before I would just take the shit I didn't like. Now it's like, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like, don't talk to me like that. And so it's like now he's learning from me sometimes. So it'll be like
Exactly.
now it's our job to
teach as a parent.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's another great point you bring because, yeah, parents teach you as a child. Parents teach you because they're older. They know better. They've gone through circumstances. They've gone through life and they know what life is about. But also, when you grow up at a certain age, you're the one that needs to come up and teach your parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
that's
for
the
and
most
forgive your
difficult-
parents for
Yeah.
all the shit that they
They're
didn't
learning
know.
from
You know?
you.
Yeah.
They're learning from you because time passes and things are different, right? Not all the things are gonna keep on being the same way they were to our grandparents. Imagine how that would be. So every single generation will have to teach the next one, right? So it's like, and you're always gonna come through that situation with parents. And you don't want to be that parent that no, yo soy el papá y yo blah, yo digo lo que es, yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that because then your relationship
You're closing. You're
separates.
closing your mind. Like
Yeah, you're closing the door with the possible bond that you can have with your kid because you want to be closed-minded and saying, "Hey, no, it's my way or the highway."
but I don't know why, man. It's like a Mexican thing.
It could be,
No, I
I don't know,
can see it
just
happening in
closed-minded.
the
It's just
culture.
mentality. That's what it is. It's just like he has the wrong mentality, you know?
I guess it's like the whole you don't talk back to your elders.
Yes, because
That's
I
why.
can say every culture is different. Asian cultures a lot more stricter, right? American cultures with American people usually yes you don't talk back that way, right? You're nicer, calmer, things like that. African American cultures that I've seen, they don't care what you think and you feel. You do. You don't
Well,
care. The age
nowadays,
you.
I think it's different.
It's like.
Nowadays, I feel like it's a lot of the youngsters don't have respect towards their parents.
But it's not having respect. We're not talking about not having respect. We're talking about giving respect and also getting respect. Okay? Well, I'm not saying go out to your parents and don't have any respect for them. I'm saying have respect for them, but teach them in your own way to where they can respect also your point of view.
right.
Like, don't just tell them, no, you're wrong for this and that. Like, try to, like you said, like you have to learn to teach a 7-year-old. You have to learn to teach a parent because.
But also you have to understand who your parents are at too, where you are in their mentality. So you can only do as much as you can do. They can do as much as they can do. So we can all feed back and forth of good positive vibes or bad negative vibes. So it's like just be smart how they're with it. And it's hard. It's difficult. Relationships are the most difficult things to do. Yeah. Okay? But relationships are what also builds us as a person. And not because of that, because it's what you are as a person is what you're going to be professionally. What you're going to be professional is what you're going to be also as a parent. So it encompasses everything at the very end.
Interesting.
At what point did you realize you were like, I'm gonna have kids? Like,
really, I never really thought about kids. It was one of those things that just kind of happened with me. It wasn't planned to have kids, but when I was there and having kids, I knew that okay, I
ready.
have something, and I have to do with something right. Which Yeah, there's mistakes. I made mistake. I had to apologize to my son too. I have to tell my son, if you're feeling a certain way, tell me about it. Speak out. Because if you don't tell me, then I assume we're okay. And maybe we're not. Maybe you're not. This is the conversations I have with my 7-year-old. And I can tell you the way I treat my 7-year-old and how we talk, a lot of people around me do not like it. Because es un niño, está chiquito, no hagas eso, no le hables así. And that's also wrong because it's their child, but they're children and they learn everything. The best time to teach and when you're a child because you get everything. So I don't want to wait until he's 14 with problems, 16 with problems, 20 and say, I don't want to do anything in life because I don't have any self-esteem on myself. Like, I don't want to wait until then. Because why? Because at 18, you're an 18, you're an adult, and now I can talk to you?
Yeah.
No, you've been my son all this time, and I'm going to talk to you about everything that I can. You come to me about everything that you want. And there's times I'm going to be upset about what you tell me. There's times that I may cry about what you tell me. There's times that you may disappoint me as a mother. And I may tell you this too, but that's okay. Yeah. As long as you come to me and I come to you.
Yeah, that's for sure that what needs to be done. Man.
Yeah,
that's why I can't have kids yet.
It's a learning process. Like even with me and my brothers, it's like I feel like they're not too open about stuff. Is because I always have something to say.
You're a dick.
Well, no, it's not that. It's like I'm telling you because I want the best for you, you know. So it's like sometimes it's like they don't want to hear that. You know, and it kind of like holds them back. But it's like if
that's the difficult part.
Because you go to your friends,
you have to figure out how they learn and how you can get to them. I feel like that's the difficult part. Because even if you want the best for them, if you can't get it across to them, it's useless. Basically.
Right. So it's like their friends might be, good with their ideas and stuff, and but it's like I'm telling you, okay, it's a good idea, but you have to watch out for this, this, and this. You know, it's just like life shit. You know, like getting a car, for example. Like he's always thinking about like, oh, I can get it without a license, but I'm like, hey, get your damn license. Like just because you can get a car without a license doesn't mean you can go and get it. Like, come on, man, it's common sense, but it's like they see it like as like here he goes again with the bullshit, you know.
And how do you feel when someone comes at you and someone like that? Like, yeah, I think we're doing, but A, B, C, D, I don't like this, and that.
I gotta sit down and be like, huh. Like I'll sit down and analyze it before I even, I don't jump into like conclusion. If there's something I've learned without the years is to sit down and like listen to your perspective and kind of analyze it and kind of be like, all right, now I got to make a decision based on what they told me, So it's like I've learned that without the years. It took me a long time because I'm a little hard-headed too, but I've learned to be more understanding of situations.
That's great. That is awesome.
Why are people hard-headed? Why are they like so just stuck in their ways?
Every mind is different, and I think it's just more of knowledge. I think is just like getting more knowledge and like learning how to just understand.
And it's maturity. Some mature faster than others, right? And it's a lot about maturity too. Girls
mature faster than guys, huh? Is what they say.
Yes. Studies show that girls do earlier. I'm not gonna say fuller.
So
I'm not gonna say every single one of them, but yes.
Right now, are you working from home or are you
Right now, I actually do kind of. I'm working from home. But if there's a physical need, like I have to go do something like a specific test to a machine, something that's physical, I will go and do it myself because I have to be there and, be with someone else and say, I need you to do ABC. Let me see that you're doing ABC. Exactly.
So how do you do it? Because your profession requires a lot of like mental like engagement because you got to be in the right state of mind to do the task that you have to do. And then on top of that, you have your kids that you have to also, pay attention to, make sure they're good. Yep. You also say you do homeschooling with them. So how do you do it? Like you're at this point a super mom.
I am not a super mom. I am a mom. And mom will recognize that saying because we're all moms and we all have our difficulties. But I can say that I'm thankful of the place where I landed as my first engineer job, and I'm thankful of the managers that I've had, and I'm thankful of the company. And it's something that everyone should look at, not just moms, but also dads, and those are becoming older and want a family in the future. Don't look for that job that's just gonna pay you good. Don't look for that job that, it's like, oh yeah, it's only 8 to 5 and I'm good with that because I don't have to do any extra hours. Or don't go with a job that I have to do extra hours and then I'm going to make a lot of money either. Like, go with that place with those people that recognize you as a person and as an individual and as a, in my case, a mom before the professional. That's what's really great about my supervisor manager that I've had. They recognize that my
that you're a person.
that my personal life, it's before our career life. We all have the skills. We are all smart. But I can tell you, there's times that I say, you know what, I'm going through this or that, and they're like, take your time off. Whenever you feel better, come and work again. Take your one day off. We'll wait for you tomorrow, and then we'll see how you're feeling. Like, literally like this has been words from my manager, which I'm thankful of every single one of them. So as a parent, this is what you want. You want a place to be at that can recognize you for your skills and your knowledge, but also to know, hey, I have kids, I have family, I have family issue, and I don't want to feel like I can't, fulfill my job duties or have to do my job duties and leave my family behind.
Just because you're getting a big old check.
Right, and leave my family behind. So, I don't know, you lose some, you win some.
Right.
What is more important?
A lot of companies, I feel like,
Priorities.
they mess
And
up.
I think, like, for example, with I was watching some documentary, and artists, like, that's what happens is, like, they basically have to choose, like, okay, am I gonna go make these 250,000 and do this show, do this tour and make this much money, or spend time with my kids? So they choose the tour most of the time because they're not gonna. So it's like,
What's a sacrifice if you look at it?
Right.
Because he's probably thinking like, I have to sacrifice my kid right now, but it's also like I have to provide at the same
Right.
time. And if he wants a bright future, if he wants to go to college, I need to take care of that as well. So I got to go tour. But I'm pretty sure they figure that out because once they're done touring, they take like a good 6 months, 4 months or whatever. Then they just stay like making music in the studio. I'm guessing. I don't know. So
But that's
it's-
also why you want to position yourself as an individual before you're even a parent in a place to where if you were to become a parent, hopefully that's not a choice you have to make. Okay, hopefully there may be the times where temporarily you have to make that choice, but it's a temporary thing. It's not years of going, okay? So as a young individual, and I say this to every single young individuals out there, high school, anyone who may be listening, you have to prioritize yourself first. Prioritize yourself first, prioritize what you want first. You may not know what you want first, but start going out, and I'm not saying going out like, just to have fun. I'm saying start going to spend your time with different group of people. Go travel if that's what you need. Go to a different country to go some
Eye-opening.
semesters.
Yes,
Go to a
yeah.
different state, because just the difference from one state to another state, the way people interact with each other, it's different. Go learn from others. And then once you have a clear mind of what you want, then start doing what you want, because you may never really know. I can tell you, I did not know what I wanted to do for sure. And then what I wanted to do, I was not able to do it because I was not documented then. So I had to let that go, and I had to take different paths to my education.
So talk to us about that. You did mention that you were on DACA.
Yes.
And how difficult was it for you to, like, even school? Like, how did you take care of? Yeah, how do you pay for school?
So I believe the first year I was paid for the Oklahoma City Promise. I don't know if it's called that, but back then it was.
Oh, it's because
I was a valedictorian.
Did you
I
graduate,
graduated in
though?
2006.
Oh,
so
that's
I was
why. Because I'm on the same thing. In 2013, I graduated, and at that point, ya no nos estaban.
right. So I
didn't
was
get
lucky
any.
enough that in
So
that
that's like
year,
a special help for
yes.
people in DACA?
No,
Oklahoma
that
Promise
was
is
for
everybody.
everybody that just graduates from an
like a
Oklahoma.
help.
Yes, it's
That's
a
why
help.
we go back to the whole thing of you saying like it's so easy here. It's like, bro, they're paying for your college, and on
Yes.
top of that, they're giving you a check they sometimes they give you checkbacks. So like people would still complain about shit. I'm like, bro,
Yes,
We're too comfortable, that's the thing.
everything's given,
Yeah.
and you don't have kids here don't have to apply to go to high school and get a test to go to that high school. You just go. Kids here don't have to pay for books when they're going to middle school. I remember my mom taking us to this big old sales out in Monterey, but all the parents will get together to resell their kids' books. for others because books are not free after primary education. Everything
even
is
like
not.
lunch, like going to the cafeteria line and getting 2 meals every day, like. In Mexico, you don't have that shit. My mom would come and bring me burritos over the fence. And
a lot of things,
so what you don't have and you see provided, if you're a smart individual, you'll take advantage of that and you'll start, grabbing to what you can.
Yeah, and let me say this, like for the people that like if you are undocumented and you're not gonna get Oklahoma Promise or whatever, you can still work. So that's what I did. My whole check would basically go to pay my tuition and pay books, and so it's still doable. And I feel like at the end, it feels much better too, because I know I paid every dime.
And that was me. So thankfully, I was able to receive that first year paid off. Of course, I had to pay my books, and I was still living with my mom to save money. I was paying my car, all of that, all by myself. I got my jobs to pay for anything that was needed. After that, I had to pay out of pocket though. Like everything was out of pocket. So every job that I did.
You said you went to OU?
I went to UCO for the same reason that I couldn't afford OU.
Okay.
And the same reason that I couldn't afford OSU out of pocket.
Yeah.
So, but I was able to find something that I wanted to do as well there, or close to what I wanted to do. But I had to give up my first choice, knowing that I can't do this. This is my situation. I'm gonna have to give up what I want to do for something that's still gonna, put me in a good position in the future. But after that, I was waitress for about 7 to 8 years during my whole college career, pretty much.
See, that's
and
exactly.
Then I did modeling jobs too. Although my mom was not able to provide for my college education, she was able and put her time into giving me to modeling classes because, I had the shape, I wanted to do it, and then we saw it as something beneficial for my future, which ended up being something beneficial. I won contests. That's how I got my first laptops. That's how I got like a whole year paid for. Like what I want is what I paid. Just, little things like that. I started doing some photography on the side. So, I could get some money on the side.
So that just runs in the family, huh?
I was able, I cleaned houses just like my mom did for her whole young years.
And at this point, you're basically putting all your money into school.
Yes, all my money into school and
a car.
That's a hustle right there. Like that's very impressive.
And a car payment.
I started smoking
school
Newports.
And car payment. So, I mean, when you have to. When you want to, you do it.
It's all about how bad you want it.
Right. And it goes back into not everything's provided for you. So you have to do it for yourself. And I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, everything's provided and it's free. And it's like, how can you not take the full opportunities that this country provides? It's like everything's given, but it goes back to if you're a child that always gets everything, you're not really going to be good at everything.
You just don't know better. Like if you come from... like the best example that I can put is like un perro de la calle, a dog that's in the street. He has to hunt what he eats, so he knows that it's rough out there. As to where a domesticated dog, like it gets this 3 meals a day, it does tricks, it sits down. It's like if that dog comes, he's gonna eat that dog up because he's just like.
Right, because he knows the life, he knows the struggle, he knows what to do, and he's been there before to know how to survive. And he's done it for years.
Yeah, for sure. Like, my dog is a prime example. Like, I adopted him, but he was little. But like, if he doesn't go to one room, he walks freely around the house. And if he doesn't go to one room, he starts crying. I'm like, boy, don't make me leave you out for a day because you're going to know the real struggle, Because it's like
that's not even the real struggle.
And that's not even the real struggle. Leaving you the back.
Exactly. And that's where we are. That's where we are, though. It's not even the real struggle. And you're struggling.
But see, that dog that's inside doesn't know better because it's
and you can't even.
And it's almost like it's not its fault. Like
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all on me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But it's hard. You can't communicate with a dog in that sense, so they don't know. But like,
but I guess what I'm saying is the same thing with humans. Like if you've been in the United States, like she was saying earlier, and you've had your 3 meals every in school, and then you have a nice bathroom that you can go to, and all this shit. And in Mexico, you don't have none of that.
We take a lot of shit for granted, and this is the land of the opportunity. So if you're not taking advantage and trying to make something happen, then it's like, you're
wasting
wasting
time.
time, really.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's not just that. It's also those are going to high school or they're early in college or still in school. They may not know who to go for that help because, like you said, your parents may not be able to help you because they've never gone to college. They've never gone to a higher education. They don't know what it is to apply for scholarships. Like, how are they going to help you if they don't know either? Like, one, they have to put on their side as a parent, but two, also, we need to create more mentors. There needs to be more mentors, more people that can help the students. Also, the students will be able to know, hey, there's a bunch of help out there. Reach out to those people. Reach out to those places. There's a lot.
Man, I'm guilty of not helping at all. That's crazy. Because that's true, what you're saying.
And it's not even like money. It doesn't have to be monetary. It's just...
No, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, you
know?
could go and, okay, these many kids don't know how to write an essay. We can all get together and show them how to write that essay.
Right. Just as a freshman, how hard is it to go and what do I have to do to enroll for college? I don't even know what classes am I supposed to be picking. Like, and if, like me, I put myself in my position, I'm going to help my niece. I'm going to help whoever comes to me that going to want to do that. And I'm going to explain because I know I gave up a lot of opportunities because I just didn't know. I didn't know that I could do this. I didn't know that I could do that. And so I missed other opportunities, even though I did well after all, but I missed a lot of other help that could have, made it maybe a little bit better for me in my situation. But I also missed them. But I also missed them because of my own fault. Because I do remember a scholarship being given out, and I did not apply to a certain college. I think it was OCU, because in my mentality, and at that point in my life, I was like, I'm undocumented. I'm never going to go to a college. So I did not apply to this one college, to that one scholarship. Guess what? Someone else got it, and that person wasn't undocumented.
Oh yeah.
Because of I put myself down. So
I had the same mistake. I already had the interview,
everything.
and I just didn't show up. Like, I had the interview for the scholarship, and
because did you doubt yourself? That's why.
Because I didn't have papers, so I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I'm not gonna go through the embarrassment of going there, getting the scholarship, and then being like, "Oh, I don't got papers." Like, so I just didn't go. I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm not going."
It's being scared and being you get yourself sad about your situation, and then you are becoming scared of then I have to tell them that I'm not, and now I'm gonna
like I had that happen at a job before. Like, I was like about to start this job, and then the dude came to me. He was like, "Nah, bro, like."
So that kind of crushed you?
Well, it was embarrassing. Yeah, to me it was embarrassing, bro. I was like, I'm just as qualified as everybody, if not more. Like, I know I could go hard, but the only reason I didn't get this is because,
And I've gone through the same. I've had a lot of no's before this, before getting my DACA. And I've had a lot of no's even after having my DACA. Because, I applied to my job, but I also applied to several others that said no to me. So really, the fear of a no, everyone has it. It doesn't matter what circumstances, but everyone's fear of a no. Everyone's fear of feeling rejected, right? That's one of our biggest fears as human beings. But it's like that push that you need to do it, because if you don't do it, someone else will do it and they will get it. And it's okay if you get a no.
And like you said,
it's
if you got to switch the path, like you did, I don't know what you said, you had your mind on something else and you couldn't do it. So like for me, that's how I looked at it. I was like, okay, well, there's going to be a lot of stuff I can't do. What can I do? So that's why I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'll start my own stuff. Like, then nobody's going to tell me no, because I'm going to be talented enough I can, do videos, cut hair, do whatever I got to do.
Yeah. And I believe that's also why there's a lot of the fear of a no and the fear of not knowing and not having the support system around you, either by parents, by whoever that a young individual might need to keep on going with a higher education. It's a lot of that fear and that, hey, if I do this, then I'm going to be embarrassed if I'm not.
You're just the outcast, basically, because like even your teachers don't know how to help you. Because like I remember telling my teacher, like, I'm undocumented. Like, do you think I'll qualify for this? And they'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then all of that.
So at that point, you see everybody like, this fucking dumb little dude right here is going to owe you.
Yeah. And then, but with time, sometimes, with some kids, it builds and they end up just dropping out or not finishing high school. And that's why Hispanics have one of the highest, percentage of not graduating or not going to a college. Just going to go in. It's because of two things, because of that fear or because also the culture of just work. Be proud of working. Which I'm not saying don't be proud of working, but I'm saying also be proud of working, but also be proud of also becoming something for yourself.
Yeah, don't be a fucking robot just doing the
Yeah.
same.
No.
Like, yeah, you're working, but you're shoveling the same position
every day.
Like, learn why you're putting that concrete there and why the bricks are this size.
Like,
So if one day you want to start your own business, you know.
Yeah, you're not
Right,
just...
and for some reason, us Hispanic also get us brainwashing too. Oh yeah, I work 60 hours this week, and I'm gonna get a big old check. Yeah, but what else did you lose? You lost, extra hours with your family. You barely come home, got dressed, took a shower, went to sleep, woke up, you go to sleep. What else did you? So really, are you proud of that? Are you proud of putting yourself in that position? Like, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't we have to do it? As I say, sometimes you have to give in to what other stuff may be going on in your life, but just put yourself in a better situation from the get-go. Do not go with people that are not providing any great gain to you. If you know that some people are putting you down, don't go with those people and stay with them. Don't get into gangs. Don't just waste your time. Don't just stay home either, because I did that a lot. Don't just reserve yourself in a comfortable room in a comfortable house, because there's so much out there. And it doesn't have to be professionally. It doesn't have to be school. As I said, learn about relationships, learn about cultures, learn about other countries. There's a lot. Maybe it's spiritually. Maybe you want to grow spiritually. Go ahead and do that. But touch base on everything, and then realize what it is that you really want to grow up to be, what you want to grow into being.
And that's crazy, huh? How you get that question asked since you're like pretty young. Like, what are you gonna be when you get old?
Yeah, and you still don't know.
That's
like,
really young.
Why don't people just say, "Hey, let me show you some shit so you can figure out what you're gonna do."
Right.
And that's a lot of what I do with my son too. Like, I put him into music, this and that. What are you good at? What do you want to do? I want to do this. Okay, let's go do it.
Yeah.
I don't say
don't
no
be afraid.
to him.
Don't be afraid.
I don't say no to him. Because with time, he's like, I don't really like it. Okay, then we know that
Fine.
wasn't you
Let's
for
move
you.
on
Let's
to the
move
next.
on. What's
Yeah.
the next
Don't
one?
be afraid to
what
try
do you want to do?
different
You
things.
want to go swimming? Let's go swimming.
Yeah, exactly.
Just try it, but don't stop yourself from the beginning. Because, as I say, I am guilty of every single thing that we've talked about. I'm guilty of doubting myself. I'm guilty of not trying. I'm guilty of just staying in the corner, not wanting to do anything because I'm depressed. Like, I've gone through everything. We're human beings. We all have these emotions. We all feel them. Okay? But,
when
go
you
ahead and manage.
When you have what do you do when you have a day full of stress? Like, what do you do to kind of get that stress out and relax? Do you do exercise, yoga, or what do you tend to do to kind of relax yourself?
Go ahead.
You said you got to be emotionally smart is what you said, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, how do you the question kind of falls, how do you develop that?
Mediations, there's a lot that are good at mediating, right? There's doing mediation. Some, as me, take probably a lot longer. Other individuals, can just stay there and mediate and contemplate on themselves and become, spiritually strong, and that's what drives them. Some maybe just being a parent, let's go out with my kids, and that gets me in a better mood.
So what works for you?
What works for me is more of, I did a path of, with my extra stuff, I did a path of doing fitness modeling. So at a time that I was with a lot of stress, I did that, but I did it.
So that helped build yourself. That
built my self-esteem a lot, and also when I do something, I don't do it just to do it. I don't do it just to waste my time. I do it because I think there's a goal behind it. With intention of doing something. It's like, I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna put all this time and this money in the healthy meals, and if I'm gonna have to put my son
it has to be worth
the care of my mom or someone else for an hour or two, it has to be worth it. So that's how I got my place as a fitness model as well. And different stages in this life puts you in different stages of what you think it needs to be done for your well-being. Okay. So
and I think the foundation you've built is already if you were able to put yourself through college, there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff that's harder than that,
No, and I think for what would you say 2020? How did it treat you?
How did it treat me? I can tell you it was difficult.
It was difficult.
It was a difficult year. It was really hard in personal issues. It was really hard in also professionals, but I was lucky enough to, maintain my position where I was because there was a lot of ways of just people just having to be clear out,
Yeah.
taken out just because of this pandemic. So it was hard, and I'm lucky enough to still be where I am. But personal life also has been kind of
A roller coaster.
a roller coaster up and down, and I think that's what it makes it sometimes even worse, the ups and down hills, and not knowing when am I really going to come out of it. But I mean, the only thing that you can do was just look forward.
Yeah,
Look forward and see, okay.
That's what I tell people.
Either I'm going to get, sit down or let this one go and get me down or not.
Like, yeah, it was a rough year for a lot, but I feel like, if that didn't break us as humans, then there's no limit. You can just go for what you want. Cause it was a rough year for me, but it didn't stop me from reaching my goals. So I think that's, I'm just like even more optimistic of like, all right, if that didn't stop me, then it's just gas on the pedal, So, I'm glad the year's over. It's a good start. How are you guys feeling about this year so far? I know it's super early, but
I don't really be paying attention to stuff like that. Like, oh, it's a new year. I'm still on the same.
This is still, to me, it's still the same goal.
I'm on the same mission. So
Right, exactly.
It rolls all together, feels like,
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like I have a good feeling about this year.
Language.
I have a good feeling about this year, and it's just more of like I feel like everything is starting to go back to normal, which I don't think it'll go fully back to normal, but it's just like adapting to the new normal. Like I feel like NBA games are gonna have a certain amount of capacity, like concerts and stuff like that, so like they can get the economy more flowing.
People are just getting used to.
But we'll see.
People dying.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's as far as it's a good start, but
I mean, I know I have to become stronger. I know I need to become more outspoken, which is why I kind of also reach out.
Yeah.
I need to be more outspoken about what I want, how I feel, where I want to go in life. Like
I feels like it's like I understand like about being outspoken because seeing people dying, like he died is like, damn, like I better hurry up and say what I gotta say.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
I mean, we all have our weak spots.
And like you said, strength.
Yeah, we all have our weak spots, and recognizing them is probably one of the hardest things to do because you have to look into yourself. No one likes to look. Everyone else can look into you and tell you something, and you say, "Oh, whatever." But then when you look into yourself and you say, "No, I am actually that way," like, oops, I kind of have to change it. And it's hard because then you're fighting with yourself, right? Of no, I won't, because if you're able to tell no to others, that you're not gonna change. Then you fight. It's an internal fight of you to become a better person, a better human being, a better mother, a better wife, a better student. It's just internally. It's so much better. I forgot who said like your mind is almost
against you sometimes.
Yes,
it is. It is. That's what when doubt comes in, like when you want to start something and then you're like, oh man, what if this, what if that, what if they start talking, what if they start criticizing? Like it just like why? It is what you said. Is like it kind of becomes in a way your enemy because it's like implanting these little negative shit, So I don't know. I think I think meditation.
So what is your what would you say your life purpose is?
I think my life purpose with my child, of course, with my children, I believe my life purpose is just to leave a lineage and of knowledge. Doesn't even have to be, you have to be a genius, Wendy. It's like, no, I'm going to start something so that my children can see that they can also at least go to as far as I went, if not more. Okay? At least I want to start that line to follow me. Okay? That's where I want. That's what my purpose is. Because
so follow you as far as like educational wise?
Educational wants to be better than me as a person. Try to put a line of what I am or what I want to be, that they can still see it as something positive, to where they can get there, at least to that small level that I am. Because I'm not going to say I'm up there, but I'm at some level. And at least I know they're not gonna stay even lower than that. They're always gonna be farther than me.
Like my mom did this, my mom did that. So
Yes, and if they did farther than that, with what the following after them are gonna be farther than that. So it just starts with one person to start changing, the whole history of the whole generation. But it starts with one person.
So that's so important right there.
Yeah.
That's
super.
That's powerful.
So if your kid says like, I don't want to go to school, Mom, this is probably down the road, just to give you an example. I don't want to go to school, Mom. I want to become like a YouTuber or like streamer or something like that. What's your take on that as a parent?
Okay, don't go to school, but what you're doing, do it right and do it with heart. Cool. Do it right and do it with heart and get on it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
If really that's what you want, then get on it. And I'll support you. I'll do whatever it is that I need to do. I'll like every single videos that you post. I'll share whatever. As long as really this is the one you want to do it.
It's very interesting because they asked a lot of kids in a classroom like what they want to be, and probably like 75% of the kids said YouTubers. So that number is really growing. It's achievable, but it's just understanding and getting into it, committing to it, and like understanding the game of it, because it's a lot to that, like, even for us, we gotta understand a lot.
The block is saturated.
Yeah, that's one. That's another one too. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. You're very supportive, and I think that's amazing. The background that you have also, it's pretty impressive and amazing. And it's like, thanks for reaching out to us.
I'm probably still going to say, well, you still have to be an educated type of person to
Knowledge.
have a business, to have the language, to be able to get the attention of this big group. So you still have to put yourself in an educated position, which is still learn your language, learn your history. That's the only way you're going to keep on keeping a conversation on understanding someone else's culture. Like, I'm still going to push it into, grow your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Grow your brain,
and then go after that.
Yeah.
Grow your brain.
Some people are even too lazy to think sometimes. Like, let me just feed me some Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. The quickest way to not become rich is, watch some stuff on Netflix.
What's your take on that? Do you want, as far as money-wise, do you plan on being rich?
I guess we all plan on being rich at one point, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good, thing to think about. But if I don't become rich, I'm okay with that too.
Why do we not talk about that? Like in school, like if or even your parents or something, like if you tell them I'm gonna be rich, they look at you like,
because they think it's impossible.
Like, well, the parents may think it's impossible. A school system doesn't teach it. I mean, a school system, as I said, it's really close to really what we should all be learning. There's a lot more other things that kids should be learning than the basic, collectively classes that go year to year.
What are some
because
of those?
they are history. How many years do we see the same history?
For real.
Okay. Which is good, because we still need to know where we come from, how we grow, because history repeats itself, right? You still want to know it. But why don't you also give, kids how to do taxes? Don't pay anyone to do taxes. How does credit card store? How does credit cards good juices work? Maybe you don't need any
emotional strength.
Yeah.
Yes, like all of these other little things, kids are not given.
And even like, I think that one's a big one, stressing that like, hey, it's okay to talk to somebody if you're feeling down. Because I feel like a lot of people, what they do, especially the younger people, they
keep perky.
Oh yeah, they keep it in their heads, and they don't realize how good and beneficial it is to just talk to somebody and say, hey, I got this problem, I feel depressed, or whatever the case is.
The main worst results comes out in males. It depends, because
they have all the machismo,
they have all this testosterone. Yeah, they have all this testosterone, but then they become angered first, or physical abuse at first, or anything else first, before knowing how to express themselves. But it's not completely.
What is it called? We inflict pain on ourselves.
Right.
Oh, I can take 10 shots, or it's crazy.
And it comes back to a parent, like, you can't just put down a kid's emotional feelings, or just don't talk about, you're a boy, you shouldn't, be talking, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, men also need to do it from a young age, to be able to realize how to express themselves when they're adults, because then when they're adults, then you won't be able to express yourself, and then all you're gonna do is explode or have a bad temper,
Right.
or say something in the wrong
Be
way.
grumpy all the time.
So yeah, that it's not gonna be benefiting you or no one else around you either.
Right.
But yeah, it's like so much things like, and this is just items that I collectively have learned from my life experience, my own setbacks, my own stresses, my own emotionals.
The other day, I worked for a retail store, and it felt pretty good because as I'm helping this customer, the customer came in with their daughter, and they were talking about, I'm going to get something financed and put her name so that way she can start building credit. And I'm like, do you know about the secure card? And she didn't have no idea. So I explained to her the whole situation with getting a secure card for her. You pretty much, use your own money, put it in the bank, and it acts like a credit card, and just use 30%. So stuff that you're already going to buy, boom, go ahead and use it.
We're also going into credit cards. Why don't we teach kids about stocks? Why don't we teach kids about like using stocks and finances that way? Because as they start early from an earlier side, once they graduate college, before that,
second nature.
Exactly, because to be honest, I did not learn about stocks or 401k until I went to work, and even when I started to work, I didn't know what it was. I just signed up for it.
I feel like stocks is not for everybody though. Like you have to understand it and how the market works and how it runs.
To even understand
it's not, but
exactly.
It's not for everyone, but at least you have to know that it's not for you. At least that gives you the opportunity to know it's not for you or it is for you. Imagine how many of those kids through the years has been for them. They have the brains for it, but they were never thought.
I'm now getting into studying the stock market because I've always been fascinated by it. I just never took the time because it's like so overwhelming to like, all right, when to trade, what to buy, how the market works. And so now I've taken the time to learn it, and I'm getting into it. But before I even dump my money into it, I gotta be like, I gotta understand how it works, because if not, then I'm just gambling.
Imagine if, like, with your kid, you're teaching them since he's 7 years old how to do that. Like by the time he's 27,
it's so interesting how it works.
He's gonna be Warren Buffett.
Yeah, it's
little sneak peeks of what brand is this, what do they do, and then I show them there's Nike. This is how much it's worth right now, and then we look at the after a few times, this is how much it's worth right now. So imagine if you put this much money, you would get this money. But these are things that you have. If you're gonna do it, you have to do it on a daily basis. And it's like parenting is not easy. If you think parenting is easy and it's all just about love and hugs, you completely are not a good parent. As well as if you think it's just about, as long as a kid has a shelter and food, then really you're not a good one for a parent.
Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Who's
I am.
that?
He's an author and like a teacher and stuff.
He's really good.
A lot of the stuff you've been saying is like, I'm like, dang, it reminds me of what he talks about. And he basically talks about, like, with kids, that if you don't teach your kid to be agreeable by the age of 4, he's going to have a rough life, because most people are going to not like him.
Yeah.
So he's going to get a bunch of fake smiles like, oh, que bonito. Or and there people are going to say, I don't want that kid around, va a venir. No, trae ese niño.
He's a great...
Is that camera not working?
Which one?
Yeah. See, it stops a lot. It's tripping.
Yeah, definitely would advertise him to everyone to go look at his videos. He's so knowledgeable.
I'm gonna look
about relationships, about how to treat, especially kids. Like I really like his areas on kids and relationships,
because I feel like he understands that that kid is gonna be molded into what a grown person is. So he understands the importance of like just embedding the right things into
and that's where we go back into the society is not putting our kids in that position to become those great human beings, and
he can be harsh too.
Because imagine there is a bunch of kids, and I know in Russia and Europe that right now, like, their intellectual is so way high up than a American student right now. Why is it different? Why are we keeping our children this way? Which I'm not saying don't love them, don't be nice to them or anything, but they have all the capabilities to become so much more than us at a faster rate.
Like even China, I think
C pluses are acceptable.
Like China, I think they're way ahead of us in technology, and like all them boys, man.
Yeah, Asia. There's only like here in the U.S. the dropout rate is only like 1%, 1.8%.
Over there in Asia?
No, here in the U.S. Yeah, Asians here in the U.S.
Oh.
Because they know
Our dropout rate
Rate.
in the U.S. rate in 2018, 2019 was about 8%. So which is 8 times higher than that. Okay. Which is still the white population, the American white populations, they're only about 4%. So we're still double the dropout rates of them. So why are we Hispanics why are we keeping on doing this? Why are there so many dropout rates?
I would say gangs, the home life, the parents being at work all the time, so they can just ditch a bunch of days, and then next thing you know, the mom is like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know that he wasn't going to school." So
Well, it depends. If we're talking about like, at least for me, college, the reason why I dropped out was like,
but we're talking college or high school.
We're
Or in general.
talking between 16 to 24. So
Yeah, so
between
it's
high school
any
and
time.
college all together.
well, college for me was like, all right, halfway through, I did 2 years, and I was like, this ain't for me. So I just dropped out. That was just me. Like,
Why wasn't it for you?
Well, I was doing physical therapy, and I was, I did like the aspect and like learning how to like recover an injury, and I wanted to focus more on the sports. But at the end of the day, I knew
You didn't want to write the essays, huh, motherfucker?
not the essays, but deep down I knew it's like,
He said, nope.
I'll have a boss, and then it's like, I wanted to grow more as far as like, I know I would have a steady income. I wanted to grow more and do more stuff. Like, that's what I think sometimes can be a pain in the ass on my side, is because I like to.
So why didn't you
try
just keep going to school but figure out something you liked?
Because I just didn't want to, I wanted to be more of an entrepreneur. So I was looking into the business side of things, but then I moved down here, and I just been, ever since, I just been YouTubing shit. So YouTube, I'm graduated from YouTube, YouTube college, YouTube school. But yeah, it's more of the entrepreneur stuff, and then I love this creative stuff. So if anything, it's more of like film school, I think would be one in business, marketing. Yeah. I'm very fascinated by the marketing side of things, because every year companies spend over billions of dollars in ad campaigns. So it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
That's what we need to start doing. Sponsors,
Yeah, reach out,
We need to put the Halfcore podcast on a little billboard.
Yeah, so that is very fascinating, the way things work. Like the stock market is one, the way that just fluctuates, and it's different. It goes up and down constantly.
Okay, so you guys are talking about people need to learn about stocks. What is a good place for people to go learn about stocks? Or how does one learn about this stuff?
When YouTube is full of information.
Yep.
You can find anything about, pick a specific brand that you like. If you really like on it, I really like this brand of shoes. Go look more into the information of what it is you like, not just what you see. Because at that point of what you see and you're saying, I like this brand, the only thing that it's doing is you being the customer and buying that brand. Yeah. Why don't you become part of that brand? Why don't you become part of owning part of that brand? Go look to who the owner is, the history of it, who owns it, and then, start looking into information of that one brand that you really feel,
like, would I trust these people to have my money? Is that kind of the mentality?
Well, it's more of a study too. I mean, you have to study it with time and be like, oh, this company, and charts are everywhere.
And
you can check on the stock market the last 5 years on whatever company, and it'll show you a graph. It's pretty out there. There's no information that has been like a secret. You just have to look at it and realize.
Yeah, study the game. Because if you buy, let's say you buy stocks for Nike, you got to study the game. Like, you got to all right, if LeBron's about to drop a shoe, well, most likely the stock is going to go up. So you have the option, if you own, let's say 50 stocks, you have the option when they go up to sell a couple of those and make some money off of it. And then when the stock drops down, let's say Nike.
Wait, say that again.
So you have to pay attention. One thing.
No, I understand that. But you said I can sell a stock?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you buy 50 stocks, let's say Nike stocks, let's say I don't know where they're at right now, but let's say they're at 50 a stock.
Okay.
So if you know LeBron's going to release a shoe, most likely the stock is going to go up because of that release. But let's say Nike did something that was controversial, that stock is going to go down. So you buy when it goes down.
You buy when it goes down.
And you sell when it goes up. So it's constant. You got to be constantly on it. That's what I learned from Saul.
It's like a game.
Saul will come to me. He will come to me and say, oh,
because you're
Elon Musk said this.
Because you're basically trying to sell some shit to somebody because it's going to do bad. That's kind of fucked up.
It's the way it works. So like, yeah, someone would come to me and say, hey, Elon Musk tweeted this, his stocks went down. But then eventually they're going to go right back up. So it's just a constant roller coaster.
That's another study.
It's a lot. I'm studying it.
There's different type of investments that you can do. There's ETFs that don't.
There's crypto.
Yeah, there's crypto. There's stocks. There's some that you can even do for your medical care. An HSA.
There's a lot. You can invest in cannabis stocks.
You can invest in.
So how do you get this money?
This is your own money that you start putting into, say, an account. And then over time, this company, if it does better, your $1 becomes $1.50 per every stock you bought. Okay.
So I guess what I'm asking is how do you get the check, or how do you
can cash out? So picture this: when Bitcoin came out, Bitcoin was super low.
Bitcoin and stocks is the same shit.
It's crypto. It's crypto. It's cryptocurrency.
Okay, let's stay on the stocks. Like, how do you? Okay, let's say Nike did really good, and you have 50 stocks. Like, how do you get that money?
So you sell it. You sell those stocks.
You sell it's pretty much like withdrawing.
And
you said that's another word. You know?
Normally
like
it takes.
You sell it back.
Yeah, you take 24 hours and somebody's gonna buy it. That's not like you sell the stocks, you buy them. So just picture like going back to crypto, right? So like when Bitcoin came out, their price per stock was like $1, $2. So imagine when the person bought that, it got to the point where it was 20,000 per share. So if you bought 100 and it got up to 20,000,
20,000 times 100.
So like, boom, there it is. But it's like nobody knew that, you know. So only the people that invested initially was the one that became millionaires, because it's like it's a risk. At the end of the day, a couple of them. Yeah. It was a couple of them.
So like Gary Vee, I think that's how he's rich, right? Because he owns like Facebook and Twitter.
He was a beginner for Twitter, Facebook, all that. It's just studying the market, you know. At least Saul likes to do the big companies, but I think it's also good to do your research on the upcoming, because there's always going to be that company, you know.
Like undocumented people do stocks in Bitcoin.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you can actually, there's stocks in every country, so you can even buy stocks from Mexico. You can buy stocks from other places.
It's interesting, bro.
Like
that whole
and the European currency, like it's a worldwide it's a worldwide investment. So you can do it. And it's up to you. I mean, you can lose it, sure.
So see, there
you
you
can
go.
also gain
If you're
it.
undocumented, you can do stocks.
Just keep in mind just keep in mind that like whatever money you put into it, like you got to be okay if like you can possibly lose it.
And you're in a good stage because you're still pretty young. I did not learn about them till I was like in my early 30s. So, and I'm still, like, I wasted all that time because I did not know. I didn't have anyone to have this conversation. That's why you want to surround with people that have some type of higher, and an intellectual conversation to you, other than just staying and watching TV. Yeah. Like, you have to know who the people that you want to surround yourself with. And that's what you learn. You learn from others.
The subconscious mind is a real thing. Like, whatever you feed it is what's going to
come back.
That's what you're thinking all day. So if you're sitting there talking about whatever, like, that's what's going to be on your mind, even if you don't know it. So
yes, very interesting. So we're gonna ask you this question when we ask every guest. If you had to go back 5 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Let me think what 5 years were back. If I was to do something, I would say definitely change my medical insurance to invest in stocks, because of the few years that I have done it, it's actually been pretty good.
So you have invested in stocks?
Yes. And if I were to go back a little, just as far as a year, it'd be like invest in stock right now before the pandemic. So yes, I would have said that. Also, hey, be smart of who you surround yourself, and also don't be so naive. Don't be so naive or believe in everyone. It's the same way as you are. So that was definitely a big one on me, because you want to trust everyone, and
I think
it goes back to surround yourself from the beginning.
Get you killed.
It goes back.
Don't be so naive.
It goes back to what AV's like you posted, and you said you're kind of disappointed in humanity, but it's like, don't set expectations. Like, that's, I think, where sometimes you mess up. Like, I mess up too. It's like setting expectations for other people. Like, just don't have any expectation at all. Like, just go and focus on yourself, and like, don't trust everybody, because it's like, you never know. So that would be one. So you'd say invest earlier, and
You
then
should change your health insurance. Were they?
So my health insurance, yes.
They were taxing you or what?
No, I actually I have changed it to something to where it's more of a stock purpose. Like anything I put in, I never lose it every year. It just stays there and it keeps on rolling over, and I can invest stocks in it and it'll just grow. And I would always have money to grab from.
Can you tell the people what that is?
Sure, there's they're called HSAs, HSAs, so health savings accounts. Which
is something you can find like in your Fidelity or like Vanguard.
Yeah, definitely. Kinda. They're out there. There's different companies that do offer it. And the only reason why people don't really do it is because, when you go to the doctor, the copay may be a little higher. But that's about it. Like, really, there's been years that I have not used my insurance on myself. But I still have it because we all have to have a medical insurance in case something happens, right? But I only get sick one time, and I barely go to a family doctor. And that's all I spend on medical, on myself. And but still, I have a monthly payment that still goes to that from my check. So those $3,000, really, I lost them because I only went to the doctor one time. When really, with an HSA, it's the one time that you go to the doctor, that bill may be higher, and that co-payment when you visit the doctor may be a little bit higher too. But those $3,000 stayed in that account, and they grow the next year. It stays for the next year, and the next year it keeps those $3,000 stays there.
You're basically keeping that money for like if you do break your leg that year, you have $6,000 now instead of having.
Right. I mean, but that's where you have to put yourself in a good base position to know, okay, if something does happen this year when I, start my HSA, I have savings to also, cover for that. But it's just getting it started. A young person like you without family, without kids, that would be the best, because really, how many times do you go to the doctor?
None, huh?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, there you go. I do understand there are those that have some medical, issues.
So I had to go to, I was going crazy, so I had to go to some therapy. I don't know if that counts.
When?
Don't worry about it, man.
Hey, I'm just looking out for you, brother.
We all have our issues. We all have emotional and mental stuff.
Does it cover that?
Yes. It's just like a medical insurance. It still covers about 80% of bills and everything. The only thing is the copayment is higher, and also the full amount for the year before it fully covers 100% is like $3,000 or something, which is not bad. It's really what everything is going around. So look into it. Young people look into it.
HSA.
HSA. And it'll just carry over every year instead of you losing it and start it over every year.
Nice.
And then it carries every year, and then you have the opportunity to the money that's still there in that account. You can use that money and put it into stocks or ETFs, and it'll grow tax-free into that account.
Yeah, see, that was number one. So that means that you were really proud of that.
So it'll grow into that account, and this account, you can only use it though for medical purpose, okay? So we always have the money for medical without losing anything. That's the good thing about it. And but then once you're under time of your retirement, you can cash out this money for your retirement without having to be a medical purpose.
Interesting.
I like that.
A lot of good stuff there. So we pretty much covered a lot of stuff, man.
Is there anything else you want to?
Yes, before we wrap this up.
Let's see. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of who you are, where you came from. Be proud of your family. Be proud of your culture. But show that you are proud by becoming better, by making your group, in this case, our Hispanics, be better. It starts with you and with one person. And if you make the change, others will follow. Others meaning your own siblings, your own parents, your own friends, as we've been learning from each other. But it all starts with one head. Don't be afraid of no's. You'll get no's everywhere from everything.
Till the day you die.
The no's are going to be there.
All it takes is that one
do
yes.
not
though. Exactly.
be afraid of no's. So.
Don't be afraid of no's and grow your brain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one more thing I want to add. Are you active on social media?
I am. I have a Facebook and I have an Instagram.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want people to follow you?
Sure.
You
They
shout
can
it
follow
out.
me there. They can follow me. I am Luna Pluma 10 on Instagram, and I am Sundas Pluma and Facebook.
Okay, we'll leave that in the description down below. So if you want to check Wendy out. Once again, Wendy, thank you very much for reaching out to us, coming here and giving us your background. It's pretty amazing, and it's a prime example of greatness. There's no limitations. You know, you can whatever you put your mind to, you can just achieve it, and you're a perfect example of that. Very impressive, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye.